What's crack-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So, back again for another NFL draft grade video. We're going over the AFC North today. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. That's always much appreciated. Much obliged. Really helps out the channel, and I wish you would do that for me. Please! I ain't begging out here. I'm done begging. But we're going over each team's draft class. We're not including undrafted free agents. So just how they did in the draft specifically, how these grades work out. They go from anywhere A+ to F. And if your team got a C, it means they had an average draft. Don't be bummed about that. It means they did some things good, they did some things bad. For the most part, they were okay. If they got a B, it means an above average draft. For the most part, they were very safe. Or maybe they got some good players here, but maybe reached some places here. But for the most part, it was a pretty good draft. A though, A means they went above and beyond. They got value when value was available. So much so that it maybe even made up for some of their subpar picks. I only dished out 3 A+, 2 teams this year, as well as 9 A grades in general. For the most part, it was a pretty deep class, so a lot of teams got B grades with the occasional C's here. There were a couple of teams that got some D grades, which means they had a below average draft. They just probably reached on a ton of guys, just didn't really get good value or made some boneheaded trades here and there. So there were teams that did that. And if you get an F grade, no team got an F grade, so why worry about it? But it just basically means they threw the draft. Their front office is probably going to be looking a lot different after this season. But yeah, first and foremost, thank you for all that came out and just attended the watch along for the NFL draft. We had a ton of fun, and I had some great conversations with some great people, and just want to thank the community for that. Let's go ahead, let's dive into the dang thing. I do want to make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. That would be awkward. Cincinnati Bengals, they got an A-. I, for the most part, really liked their draft. They did the right move. They got Joe Burrow. Good on you. The T. Higgins pick, I thought, was a steal in my opinion. I love the value. I love T. Higgins, the prospect. Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow, he's got a ton of weapons to work with. Well, some of the kind of things I didn't think they did well was I didn't like them drafting 3 linebackers. I know the linebacking position hasn't been good for Cincy in quite some time, but to go get 3 linebackers, I thought was a bit overkill. Thought they really should address the offensive line a little bit earlier, but they didn't do that. I like the Logan. I think they overdrafted Logan Wilson. He's a very solid linebacker, and I think you have to scheme around him so he's not a liability in coverage, but he's a very smart player. But 4th round, Akeem Davis-Gaithers, I thought was a phenomenal pick, great value. Khalid Kareem was great value as well. He can do a lot on that defensive line. The cat out of Kansas, he's a bit of a project, probably converting to guard from tackle in my opinion. Marcus Bailey, grabbing another linebacker who has a bit of an injury history. Kind of so-so about, but again, I love the value of Khalid Kareem, Akeem Davis-Gaither, T. Higgins, Burrow, Logan Wilson. I thought was a very safe choice. So for the most part, they did a really, really good job in this draft. So I gave them the A- grade. On to the Cleveland Browns, I gave them an A. I really, really loved their draft. More so, probably the first 2 days. Jedrick Wills, a bit iffy about that one, just because now you have 2 right tackles. Sounds like they're going to move Wills to the left tackle, which he totally can do. He's athletic enough, but he's never played left tackle. That's my only gripe with it. And then Grant Delpit, great value in the 2nd round. They go out, they get, in my opinion, a stud in a passing league, because Grant Delpit's big knock is his tackling. This guy can do any coverage you ask of him to do. He is that good in coverage. Great value. Jordan Elliott, if you're not new to the channel, you know I freaking love Jordan Elliott. Phenomenal value for the Cleveland Browns here. A guy that I think could come in and really start day one. And then they also snagged Jacob Phillips, who I think is more on the developmental side at linebacker. He'll instantly be a special teamer. but there is a lot to like about him from an athletic standpoint, but still a developmental prospect in my opinion. Harrison Bryant was a bit of a head scratcher. I love the prospect. Just now you have Njoku and Hooper. There we go. So are they going to move Njoku? I don't know. Nick Harris, great value in the 5th round. He fits the scheme, zone blocking, great, phenomenal. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones, a guy that was falling. He looks like an NFL receiver. There's some things to like about him. There's some question marks when it comes to his game film drops and lack of separation. But in the 6th round, that was great value. Cleveland Browns, they had a great draft, and actually for the most part, the AFC North had a pretty darn good draft. Moving to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I gave them a B-, actually the lowest grade I gave of any team. Chase Claypool I thought was a good pick in the 2nd round. It's just they got a lot of receivers. I don't know what they're going to do with them. I don't think they're going to move Claypool to tight end. They could maybe use him in 2 tight end sets, but it was just a question mark. Alex Highsmith I thought was drafted a round or 2 too early. I think at this point he's just a situational pass rusher, but in the long term he could end up being very, very good. The Anthony McFarland pick, this guy, he could be really good for the Steelers in the future. They do have health problems at running back. I'm glad they didn't address running back on in the first 3 rounds. So there's some things to like about him. So I'm interested to see how they're going to use him going forward. Kevin Dotson, I thought they probably reached around early on him, but to get a guy that could come in, and I think he's still a bit developmental, but he is a powerhouse. Antoine Brooks was a guy that he falls in this weird little limbo of linebacker and safety. He's not athletic enough to play safety, but he's maybe too small to play linebacker. So I don't know, it'll be interesting. Maybe he's just a nickel or dime linebacker for him. Carlos Davis at the end was pretty good value to get some depth on their defensive line, especially after the exit of Javon Hargrave. So for the most part, I thought it was an above average draft. They got some quality prospects. Maybe they reached on a few of them, but for the most part, they got quality players there. And then last but not least, the Baltimore Ravens, and I gave them a B+, borderline, probably could have been an A-. For the most part, they did a really, really good job with their picks. Patrick Queen, they didn't trade up for him. They just waited for him to come to them. I thought that was a good value there. J.K. Dobbins, bit of a head scratcher. He's a good running back, but now you have a very good running back core on that team with Ingram, with Justice Hill, Gus Edwards. So where does he fit into that? I don't know. I'm kind of lost on that. Justin Metabuke, really good value in the 3rd round. He'll be good depth on that defensive line. Devin Duvernay, and you could throw James Prochet up there. They got some guys that catch the ball. And Duvernay, man, he is special. He with the ball in his hands, like, he'll be great off the screen. He's a vertical threat. Just needs to polish up on the route running, while you have James Prochet, who's not the best separator, but he's a very, very good slot receiver. And then they go Malik Harrison, who I thought maybe a reach. I thought he was more of a 4th round guy, but I did expect him to jump into the 3rd round. So they just grab another linebacker. Tyree Phillips, another guy I expected in the 4th round, but he kind of fits the mold of the Baltimore Raven offensive line. Just a big, strong guy. And then they go Ben Breedson in the 4th round. A very safe option, I think. I don't think there's much high upside when it comes to Breedson, but I think he will be an average to above average starter. Broderick Washington, I thought was a total bust of a pick. I had an undrafted free agent grade on him, so I didn't really like the pick there. Like I already mentioned, I like the Prochet pick. I love the Geno Stone pick. A guy I had a 3rd round grade on. They get him in the 7th. He could immediately help out in that secondary, whether it's safety, slot, like, because they use so much of their back end. Like, it's phenomenal. Just their safeties, they had 2,200 snaps last year compared to their linebackers who had only 1,100. So I expect Stone to really see the field pretty quickly. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. That's always much appreciated and much obliged. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.